2021. It's about 5:31 p.m. We'll go ahead and begin with a roll call for our closed session. Clerk.
Okay. Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem has not signed down yet. Councilmember Figueroa.
Here.
Councilmember Charette. You're muted, sir.
I'm here.
Thank you. Councilmember Reynoso.
Yeah, I'm here.
Councilmember Calvin.
Present.
And Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
And Mayor Valdivia.
Present. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any closed session comments?
We have one.
Okay, if you would, please.
Yes, this is Harry Hatch, Ward 7. This is for closed session public comment, hopefully for B as in boy on closed session. I am hoping that B is going to be considering the Oxbow problem, and it should, because there are some issues that are popping up. Now, I'm coming out with some stuff that you want to pay some attention to. I have been in touch with several investigators that were actually on the fire at Redlands. These are private investigators working for insurance companies that I know. I have found, and I have accurately been informed, that there may have been several thousand lithium batteries in the fire debris. This is from one source. I have also been informed from a second separate source who did not see these batteries but was informed that the Greenleaf Corporation was used to remove all of the waste product, both the cement and the fire debris, and that they went to one location. His information came from the person who rented the equipment to the Greenleaf Corporation to accomplish that task. The third issue is I have been informed that the city of Redlands did not issue any removal permits for that property. I have also been in touch with AQMD, and I'm waiting on additional information, which would probably indicate that no permits were issued by AQMD for removal of that property. These need to be taken into consideration when you're talking about the Oxbow incident, if it's in Conference B. I thank you for your time. More information to follow. Thank you.
That concludes the public
Does that
comment.
conclude the comments? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will excuse our staff and we'll head. Welcome and thank you for being here. Tonight is May 5th, 2021. This is a joint regular meeting of the Marin City Council and the Marin City Council acting as successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the city of San Bernardino. I call to order this joint regular meeting of the Marin City Council. And tonight we have the pleasure of Pastor Steve Kopernik from the Rock Church. Sir, there you are. If you unmute yourself, and please, it's great to see you, Dr. Kopernik. If you please lead us in the invocation, and then also if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, sir.
Certainly. Thank you, Mayor. Almighty God, I give you thanks that according to your eternal word, that all ethnicities in San Bernardino have come from one blood, and all 217,000 individuals were created in your image and are capable of doing good and showing honor to everyone around them. I want to thank you, Almighty God, that righteousness exalts a city as it exalts a nation. So I ask that you would help us to do your will, your way, so we can have your blessings. Also, I thank you that Your word says that justice is not to be perverted by partiality to the lowly or favoritism to the great, but all judgments needed to be made righteously. And so I pray for the leaders of every department that these kinds of judgments and this kind of righteousness will characterize the city of San Bernardino in all its workings. I also pray that not only the workers employed by the city, but all who work, all the business people in our city will desire for excellence with diligence and be willing to do the plain old hard work it takes to get the jobs done. And I also ask that these same values be held by our educators and taught to our students. Finally, I ask for your holy presence to be felt in this meeting this evening, so that all the considerations and decisions made here will be characterized by dignity and wisdom. So all of us who live and work in San Bernardino can lead quiet and peaceable lives in godliness and honesty. And I pray these things in the name of Jesus, the Lord and Savior of the world. Amen.
Amen. All rise, please. Dr. Kapernick, if you'll lead us in Pledge of Allegiance.
Put your hand on your heart, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kapernick. We appreciate your ministry to our community and the Rock Church. And coincidentally, we will see you tomorrow at the National Day of Prayer. And we appreciate you, sir, for spending some moments with us tonight. This time, I will recognize our city clerk, please, to call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Here.
Councilmember Figueroa,
Here.
Councilmember Charette,
Here.
Councilmember Reynoso,
Here.
Councilmember Calvin,
Present.
Councilmember Alexander,
Here.
and Mayor Valdivia.
Present. Thank you, Ms. City Clerk. At this time, Ms. City Attorney, if there's anything, please to report out from closed session.
Yes, the only reportable action that we have this evening is that the City Council unanimously approved the filing of a receivership case to address code enforcement issues at property located at 1595 North D Street. That's all the reportable action that I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. City Attorney. At this time, we'll recognize Rob Field. Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor. There's quite a few things going on around town. First of all, it's baseball season. In honor of the reopening and the return of the great American tradition of baseball. Yesterday was the first game for the Inland Empire 66ers. Unfortunately, they lost to the Cucamonga Quakes, but nonetheless, the fact that we are back and playing ball is a great sign for what's going on around town. One game down, 119 to go. Also, the county, we have a lot of partnerships in the county, and one of the things that they're doing is trying to get more people to get vaccinated. Kind of goes back to the reopening conversation. They're pursuing what they're calling an Operation Fire and Ice Cream. They're doing a parade around town, trying to get people to follow them over to a park and get vaccinated. They're incentivizing folks with things like a churro truck, an ice cream truck, and some other things. So hoping to get more people to agree to get vaccinated and continue making progress towards a more comprehensive reopening, get us into the yellow tier and then beyond. So we congratulate the county for these innovative efforts. Parks and Recreation, today is Cinco de Mayo, and so there were several celebrations around town, including at Rudy Hernandez Community Center, Delman Heights Community Center, Verdemont Community Center, Whitehall Creek Community Center, Reuben Campos Community Center, and the Center for Individual Development. Community and Economic Development is continuing to make progress on both the general plan and the downtown specific plan. The council received an update just recently in writing, but we are moving things forward. The advisory boards for both are being appointed, and PlaceWorks is making progress, moving the process on both of those very important plans forward. Parks and Recreation. The Center for Individual Development mentioned already. They're having their annual prom on Saturday, May 15th. Participants are going to enjoy dancing, dining, kind of a conventional prom setting. So that'll be fun for them. Kaboom, Hudson Park grand reopening of the new Kaboom playground equipment is May 22nd at 11 a.m. Hope to see a big turnout for that. Great to see that kind of progress we are making. We've done a number of these playground improvements around town. This is just the latest, and we look forward to being able to do even more. Parks and Recreation, by the way, as part of reopening, is starting to accept reservations. Starting May 15th, we're going to start accepting reservations for various uses around town at the city parks and community centers. So look to the city's website to start making those arrangements. Public Works has a couple things to report. First of all, Mount Vernon Bridge. The demolition has concluded. The bridge is down, and now BNSF can start doing the work that they need to do preparatory to constructing the replacement bridge there. There's going to be a gap of time as BNSF makes their improvements, but that's another really important and hopeful sign for the city as we replace that iconic structure, which unfortunately had reached the end of its useful service life. Also, this will be near and dear to a couple of council members' heart. Paris Hill Park, the paving started today in the parking lot. We are also in the process of fabricating the new gates, so this is another important improvement for city recreation facility. Very excited to see that coming. And finally, this wouldn't be right if we didn't have a quick mention of the city's library system. The Literacy Department is giving away another 555 bags through the library system to promote its program. Books, activities, supplies. It's a partnership between the city's library system and the San Bernardino City Unified School District. So it's going to be complete. That giveaway is going to be completed by the end of May, which also marks basically the end of the school year for this year. Quite a year for all of us. So we do want to thank the school district and the library system for having done that and engaged in that activity to close out the year. So with that, Mayor, that concludes my remarks, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. I will move on to the portion of our City Council updates. At this time, I want to send my deep appreciation to the Build a Scoop. It is our newest business on Hospitality Lane. It's located at 424 East Hospitality Lane, Suite B7. And I want to salute all the team members and the small business owner for your incredible flavors and offerings there. My wife and 2 kids were there on Saturday along with Councilman Figueroa, and it was a great opportunity to welcome Build a Scoop to Hospitality Lane. This is great ice cream, and it's gelato style, and it's very, very good and tasty. And I want to send you best of luck here from me. Also, I was very pleased to see our 66ers season opener yesterday. I want to thank Councilmember Kelvin, Councilmember Reynoso, Councilmember Alexander, and of course, Councilman Figueroa for joining me. It was a great opportunity to welcome the 66ers in their grand opening for our season opener at the San Manuel Stadium. And an interesting note is it had been 21 months since we had a ball game at, and so we are really excited to see coming to life back again in our community, certainly with the governor's orders of June 15th of this year, to open it up even more. So with that, we'll move to council updates, and we'll start with Councilman Sanchez. Councilman, please proceed.
Yes, I have some really, really good news. If Mitch, if you could please put up the graphic, we have a wonderful bit of success here. So this right here is the picture of our new soccer field at Nunes Park off of 5th Street here in the 1st Ward. And so this was not in the short-term plan for the city or even the long-term plan for the city, but this is the most used soccer field, one of the most, if not the most used soccer field in the city. And this is a testament to the fact that this city, when staff and the elected officials and my colleagues, and we all work together, there's very little that we can't accomplish. So this one has a long story, and I'll just give a real brief thing about it. We had the Meadowbrook Bridge at the Meadowbrook Park in downtown actually burned down. And we had some money that we came into. There were some ideas that were pushed around. And I have to thank Mr. Alex Kista, who went not the extra mile, but the extra 100 miles to make sure that this project got done. So we used some of that Meadowbrook Bridge money. We also used some grants that the city went after, and we were able to get this done. This is a huge win. And again, this is a testament to the boundless opportunities this city has if we work together. So I'll leave you guys with that positive note.
Great job, Councilman. Great leadership there. Councilmember Ibarra, please go ahead.
Yes, I also have some great news. Our city manager just shared for Second Ward, Paris Hill Park is having their parking lots repaved, and we're getting some fences up along 21st and on Harrison and Highland Avenue. So just for the residents who live in that area who raised concerns of people loitering after hours at the park and setting off illegal fireworks, just know that your concerns were heard, and hopefully this helps this coming July 4th. So that's something exciting. Second item I'd like to mention is for homeowners, or not homeowners, I'm sorry, the renters. The state of California has rolled out their assistance to renters in bilingual and any other language. Just visit the housingiskey.com website to see if you qualify to apply online for some reimbursement. And this is for renters and landlords. So if you have not received rent since March 2020, just know that that is out there and available. Just visit housingiskey.com. And I know it's going to be on the agenda today. I'm very excited to see another grant coming in for our animal shelter. So just stay tuned on that one. And if we have any residents who live between Highland Avenue all the way to 9th Street, if you are tired of your neighborhood and how it is and you'd like to get to know neighbors, I encourage you to please jumpstart a neighborhood association within your neighbors or neighborhood watch. If you need help, reach out to me. I'm here. That's where I started, getting involved with the community. And we need our eyes and ears out there in the community. So highly encouraging all my constituents between Highland and 9th Street to get involved in their neighborhoods. That is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. We appreciate the report. Councilman Figueroa of the 3rd District. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, and also thank you for reminding me about Build a Scoop. It's definitely an interesting experience there. It has a bit of a steampunk vibe there, so I would encourage residents to go check that out. And to the gentleman from the First Ward, Mr. Sanchez, thank you for being generous in sharing the resources that came from Meadowbrook Bridge. That there were a lot of parks that were able to benefit from that. So thank you for being generous in that regard. I'd like to encourage residents, if they haven't done so, to consider participating and joining their neighborhood association. The neighborhood associations are intended to allow residents to come together, to organize, voice their concerns, and seek solutions to enhance quality of life for them and their families. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about your neighborhood association, I'd encourage you to email them at nacsbcal@gmail.com. You can also get some more information about them through the city website as well. And speaking about the Neighborhood Association Council, they will be having a fundraiser plant sale coming up this Saturday, May 8th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that will be located at the Garcia Center for the Arts, located at 536 West 11th Street in San Bernardino. And again, you can email them for more information at nacsbcal@gmail.com. And finally, I'd like to continue encouraging our residents to, and all of us, to continue keeping San Bernardino clean by utilizing the free bulky item pickups available through Burtec. As customers, we all have 2-item pickups every year. And so I encourage everyone to take advantage of that service. To get that started, you can call their customer service at 909-804-4222. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilman, for that great report. Councilman Charette, sir, go ahead.
Oh, well, thank you. I certainly echo my colleague, Councilman Figueroa's comments about the neighborhood associations as well as the bulky item pickup. And so I appreciate him bringing that up, and I certainly echo that and support that and encourage our constituents to use that. Also, I don't have a lot really to report about the 4th Ward, but I'm going to congratulate my colleague in the 1st Ward for the soccer field. That's great. That should benefit everybody in the city, not just the 1st Ward. And then I will finish by just wishing everyone a happy Cinco de Mayo. That is not an American holiday. However, we celebrate it more, I think, than the people in Mexico do. And I certainly have had my share of celebrating Cinco de Mayo. So happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. Thank you.
Also, I failed to mention Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers. We appreciate all of the selfless service that our moms give, love, care, and so much more. And we want to send our deep appreciation to our moms in our community. Happy Mother's Day.
And can I piggyback on that one,
sir? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll piggyback on it. I'm again, thanks to the mothers, and happy Mother's Day to all.
Hey, Councilman Reynoso of the 5th District, sir, go ahead.
I really appreciate that, and also Mr. Mayor for sending warm love to the mothers out there. I'll be brief. I wanted to start just a friendly reminder. I'm biracial, for those who don't know, so I'm Mexican, culturally Chicano, and Black or African American. Cinco de Mayo is actually, it was the Battle of Puebla, and so it's not the Independence Day. Mexican Independence Day is actually September 16th, but the Battle of Puebla was significant, and the forces led under General Zaragoza, they fought off the French colonizers, and they took Puebla back. So Puebla is celebrating right now, but just like Councilman Charette said, we definitely celebrated here in our own way, kind of just took off with it. I wanted to highlight a special person in my ward who has recently become and taken on the role of the Hudson Neighborhood Association president, Joy Anderson. I've been canvassing out there with her. We're having a great time. I want to invite everybody, like the other council members, to join your neighborhood associations. The first meeting will be next Thursday for the Hudson Neighborhood Association. That'll be at 6:30 p.m. at Joy's house. We'll be out there again tomorrow and other days. And so I hope to see you and give you more details. Also, just a side note, we'll be out there with PD as well, because we have to normalize some of the law enforcement interactions with the neighborhood instead of just intervening all the time, you know. I want to normalize that. And so they're going to be joining us as well. And I'm grateful for Lieutenant Carell and our resource officers and whoever else will be joining us tomorrow. And one last thing, and I'm very excited about this, is that the Little League is actually opening back this summer. I've been in communication with their communications team. They've been working with an independent commission to reopen healthy and safely in a responsible manner. It will be unique because of COVID. This will be a U.S.-only World Series. For those of you who don't know, the Little League headquarters in the North End, we host international tournaments. Like in high school growing up here, all my friends, it was the thing to do during that season. And so they'll be coming back this summer. I don't have dates for you right now, but I'll keep you in the loop at the following council meetings. But this tournament will consist of 4 teams from the baseball tournament and 2 from the softball tournament in San Bernardino, and they'll advance to their respective World Series. And so I'm very excited about that. I know the 5th Ward is very excited about that. Won't be a lot of people allowed in attendance, but the families naturally, and they're encouraging people to get vaccinated just to attend, and to learn more, just go to littleleague.org. Again, that's littleleague.org. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. What a great report, and we're excited to see some life come back at our Little League, and that's exciting revenue for our city and joy for families. So thank you, sir. Councilmember Kelvin of the 6th District.
Yes, good evening, San Bernardino. I have a few announcements. On May 18th, we're going to be having coffee with the public safety officer. Sergeant Thomas will be hosting, and that'll be at 9 a.m. at Ann Sherrills Park. And then on May 22nd, I'm very happy to announce that Cimarron Ranch, it's a neighborhood right on the back side of Cajon. It's in the back of 6th Ward, but they're going to be starting their neighborhood association. So that's really awesome. And I'll have from the 5th District, Supervisor Baca will be coming out with me because we share some of that land out there. So that's very, we're looking forward to that. Also, I want to give a shout out to some very significant nonprofit organizations that have been giving throughout the entire COVID and before. So I want to shout out Young Visionaries, Mr. Terrence Stone and his organization, along with Community Action Partnership, Hope Culture, Victory Outreach. These folks have continued throughout the COVID to do pop-ups and food giveaways and other home essential items, necessary items that people may not be able to afford at this particular time. And it has been essential and quite impactful. They've been all over the city and are still looking for areas that are not receiving a lot of services, and they're willing to come out. I also want to give a shout out to Knock Knock Angels, wonderful nonprofit, stationed out of Fontana, but they have been going all over the city of San Bernardino, the county in all actuality. And what this organization does, they look for families who are in need of having a home makeover. So they're going to be doing 2 for Mother's Day. One single mom whose house just flooded 2 days ago, and she had to be relocated. So all her children's beds were destroyed. Knock Knock Angels is going to come through and be able to provide these scholars beds. And also they're going to be doing one for a family in the 5th Ward who have just been a little bit down on their luck through COVID, have lost their jobs, and is looking for someone to show a little bit of love throughout the community. So we're very excited about Knock Knock Angels and being able to provide these type of services. So I'm very excited. So I want to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Calvin. That's a very good report, and I want to compliment you, your passion for the community. Since I've known you, you've always been very community-minded in the aspects of making sure that we feed families, and that's an important role for our community. So we salute Terrence Stone and Knock Knock Angels. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Alexander of the 7th District. Sir, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, City of San Bernardino. First, I would like to share with you that that the state of California is giving out grant relief funds of $500 million to small businesses. So it's on our website. There are grants from $5,000 to $25,000. So those who have small businesses within the city of San Bernardino, please go to our website and look at that particular information, from $5,000 to $25,000 and their grants. Also, on May 6th is the National Day of Prayer. So just to remind everybody that May 6th is the National Day of Prayer. I have a master's in theology, so I'm a very religious individual. So I just want to remind everybody that's the National Day of Prayer. On May 1st, the Assistance League held its 59th annual headdress ball, and it was held at San Manuel Stadium. And the one and only model at the headdress ball happened to be my wife, Felicia Alexander, and she did a fantastic job. The theme of this year was Grease, the movie Grease. So she played, I played John Travolta, that guy in there with rolled up pants and white socks. And we had a wonderful time and raising money for the kids and the dental center at the Assistance League. And finally, to everybody, to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Alexander. It was a great report, and we appreciate your service and dedication to our community, and thank you all council members. We appreciate it. This time, let's move on to our presentation portion of tonight's meeting. The first is a proclamation for Public Works Week, and I want to recognize Chris Jensen and her team for their incredible work here in our community, and we want to say thank you very much. On behalf of the Mayor and City Council, we do proclaim and recognize and celebrate May 16th through 23rd of 2021 as National Public Works Week. The theme this year is Stronger Together, whereas public work professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to its public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of San Bernardino. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the care and dedicated efforts of our public employees here in the city of San Bernardino, many of which number in the ranks of engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of our city government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, our public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for the citizenry of our community. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the city of San Bernardino to gain the knowledge of and to maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities, whereas the year 2021 marks the 61st annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and the Canadian Public Works Association. Now, Ms. Jensen, therefore be it resolved that the City of San Bernardino Mayor and City Council, we do hereby proclaim the week of May 16th and 23rd, 2021 as National Public Works Week here in the City of San Bernardino.
Yay.
We want to send our deep appreciation to you, Chris, and it's a very important facet of city government, and we'll give you a few words if you would, please.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I just really appreciate that you take the time out to recognize the Public Works team. We are really blessed with dedicated staff who continue to work extremely hard and have through this pandemic. It couldn't stop us. We hustle every day to meet the many needs of this community. We know that we have big opportunities coming around the corner, and those demands are going to get bigger, right, as we continue to grow and kind of reposition ourselves. And I'm just really thankful that the council continues to acknowledge Public Works Week as we celebrate it every year. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jensen. Moving on to the second presentation of tonight's agenda. This is the National Law Enforcement Week, and at this time we will see if our police chief, if he's available, or Eric Green or his designee. This is a proclamation of the Mayor and City Council recognizing and celebrating May 9th through the 15th of 2021 as National Law Enforcement Week. Chief McBride, we're really excited about our police officers and our police family here in the city of San Bernardino, and we thank you. Whereas officers from the San Bernardino City Police Department, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, the California State Highway Patrol, and the City of San Bernardino City Unified School District Police, California State University San Bernardino Police Department, and the San Bernardino Community College District Police Department are to be honored this week in May. And whereas the security of our society depends upon the loyal, dedicated, and selfless law enforcement officers of our community, and whereas the business community relies on men and women in law enforcement to maintain a safe environment wherein business transaction may successfully take place, and whereas the City of San Bernardino Area Chamber of Commerce, together with the City of San Bernardino, wishes to recognize these men and women who have dedicated their professional lives to make the City of San Bernardino a better, safer, and more enjoyable environment in which to live and work. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of San Bernardino Mayor and City Council do hereby proclaim the week of May 9th through 15th, 2021 as National Law Enforcement Week here in the City of San Bernardino, presented this 5th day of May 2021, and we send our deep appreciation to you. Chief McBride, sir, I appreciate you and your department and the men and women who serve our community. Sir, a few words.
Thank you. On behalf of the men and women of the police department, we thank the mayor and city council for recognizing this as next week as National Police Week. The men and women of the department are out there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, a holiday, all types of weather, and they work hard to make this community safe. And we appreciate the support from the community and the mayor and city council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. At this time, I want to recognize the presentation from the San Bernardino Valley Water District, and joining us is our elected official that represents that board, Mr. Gil Boteo of the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District. And Director Boteo, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the invite. I want to take, and counsel, thank you. I want to take the opportunity to thank you for your efforts during April when you did the National Water Conservation Challenge pledge. That really raised the level of awareness, not only throughout the city, sir, but throughout our service area about conservation. And sir, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our strongest, I think one of our strongest partners in the work that we do at Valley District is your Department Manager of Water, Mr. Miguel Guerrero. Miguel, did you want to say anything? Not sure if he's on.
Yeah. I am. Hi, Director Botello. I'd gladly do so if okay with the chair, Ms. Mayor Valdivia.
Please proceed. Yes.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, council members. I can't compliment Valley District enough for their leadership in the region. Besides being great stewards of the region's water resources, as you'll see in Ms. Dyer's presentation, Valley District makes a significant effort to support the region's community through educational outreach and several incentive and assistance programs. Valley District is a great partner, just as Director Botello mentioned. And it's nice to see them on the agenda, presenting and providing some information on some of the great initiatives that they're heading. So.
Thank you, Miguel. Mayor, in the challenge, the national challenge, you talked about the baby steps towards conservation, and I think that was great. But tonight, our general manager, Heather Dyer, is going to talk about the big steps that we're going to take in this valley to really conserve water and to bring all stakeholders to the table, especially community. Heather is our general manager. She's a scientist. She's one of the smartest individuals that I know, and I'm proud to turn it over to her for her presentation. Thank you.
Welcome, Heather. We appreciate you, and please proceed.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and Councilman and Councilwoman. Thank you so much for having me. I'm hoping my PowerPoint comes up here. But while I'm waiting for that, I just wanted to acknowledge, like Miguel and Director Botello mentioned, we have such a long and rich history of partnership between San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District and the City of San Bernardino and your water department. Most recently, I was so happy to see Chris Jensen on the call tonight because we most recently worked with you all on the Bryce Haynes Park, and the negotiations on that were just such a pleasure with Chris and her staff. And so I can't say enough good things about them. And of course, Miguel is one of my closest partners in all of this planning. And so I just really look forward to taking this to the next level. Many of you who know me know that I usually don't take things in small steps because I always take giant leaps, which is good in some instances, but it takes a lot of the small steps as well to really get us across the finish line. So I feel like we are stronger working together, everyone putting their efforts in where they are best suited, and we really can achieve an amazing result if we collaborate and work towards the future. So I will be rolling out our new demand management program, which is an initiative that we started last year. And we really want to promote regional water conservation for the benefit of all of the people that we serve. And so I'll be talking a little bit about what that program looks like. Next slide. Okay, so what are our objectives here? Well, first of all, we're in a drought. Valley District is a state water contractor, and we have a 5% allocation this year, which means that out of the 100,000 acre feet of state water project that we would be getting, we're only getting 5,000. So that means that we need to make every single drop of water that we use in the region count as many times as possible. And so that really requires a significant strategic initiative to be able to implement programs that promote regional conservation and local conservation. And you might say to yourself, well, we've already been doing that. You know, we've been working on conservation. Many things have happened in the past, especially during the 14-15 drought. But we want to expand that. Like I said, I tend to think really big. I like to bring in as many partners under the tent as we can to find as many values and benefits as possible. And so we're expanding those strategies out to include a high level of community engagement, capacity building at the regional and the retail agency level, which would include your water department and some of our other partners, investment, real monetary investment in products and initiatives that will take us towards success. And of course, data and measurement, because we always want to be able to go back to our elected officials and the taxpayers that we all serve and prove that their money went towards something meaningful. And this leads us to our end state. We really want to be a leader in water resources planning and implementation. And recently someone asked me, why do you want to be a leader? Why is it a big deal? My answer is always, well, if you're not the leader, then you're either a follower or you're drifting. And for me, I really want to be kind of charting the course so that we are moving in the direction that we need to go and that we can be making measured success and progress towards our goals and our objectives. Because again, I feel a strong duty to the taxpayers we serve that we use their money wisely. We get meaningful results with the things that we invest in. So that's my number one goal. And part of that is, what is our ultimate objective here? It's to increase the reliability and the assuredness of water supply for our region. Water is very important for all of the many, many needs of the region, including growth, including the environment, including the health and happiness and welfare of the people that we serve. Next slide. So the motivating factors behind our new demand management program, you might remember we had a water conservation program, but we've expanded that out into a larger umbrella that really consists of climate and drought resilience. As you know, we expect that we will have longer, more intense droughts. We will have rain. Many of the climate models suggest that we will have large rain events. We might have the same amount of rain every year. However, we expect it to fall in different patterns. And so we have to figure out how can we capture and store that water as much as we possibly can to ensure that water as a long-term reliable source. We're looking at the environment. So water is a very scarce resource. And so we have to use it in a sustainable way, and we have to be strategic in how we use it, how we store it. And if we can find other supplies, we definitely need to latch onto that and basically find as many sources as we can to put in the ground during wet times in order to have it available during dry times. Again, this is all about having the least costly water supply for our region. As you know, water is an expensive resource. You know, it takes a lot of water and energy to get our state water project from Northern California. It's expensive to build local stormwater capture projects. It's expensive to build recycled water. However, water is never more expensive than when you don't have it in a drought. So it behooves us to plan ahead and try to capture as many of those resources while it's wet and put it in the ground and save it up, just like you do in your bank account. You save it up when you have money so you can use it in times that are a little more lean. We really want to take this savings and kind of pass it on to the rest of the area that we serve in terms of the community so that we can make water more affordable and available to all of the community that we serve. As you know, there's a wide disparity in kind of in the region. And so we want to make sure that we're not just doing programs that only benefit people who have a lot of money, who can take out their turf, who can replace it with new landscaping, but we want to make these resources and this program available to as many people as possible on all levels of the economic spectrum so that we can first get as much result as possible in terms of groundwater savings, using less water, making it go further, but also address the issue of equity. We serve all the taxpayers within our service area, and we want to make sure that Valley District and our board is making a purposeful effort to invest in all of the areas that we serve. Next slide. Okay, so a summary of our program. I knew this was going out in the board packet, so I'm not going to talk about all the details on here, so everyone can review it and refer back to it in the future. But I just wanted to put this out there that we are planning to invest in our retail partners, the end users, which are the taxpayers and the homeowners who we serve, and other partners in order to increase the efficiency of water consumption and ensure regional water reliability. What that means is every drop, every acre foot of water that we leave in our groundwater basin, which is a shared resource for the whole area, every drop of water that we leave in the basin is a drop that we don't have to try to bring in a different way. We don't have to replace it with state water. We don't have to replace it with storm water. And so in order to achieve that, we're really looking at bringing these three components together into our demand management program. So a regional program, which is Valley District basically making our resources, our expertise, and our programming available to the region, to our service area, to our retail partners. Supporting those retail programs, which many of our retailers have very good programs already. And so really identifying where are there gaps in the capabilities of those agencies and how can we assist. We are not intending to take over anyone's water conservation program or anything like that. We really want to be of service to all of you, and you can identify the places where we can best serve you and we can fill those gaps within your programming in order to make it all more effective for everyone. And then, of course, like I said, really engaging the community. We want people to be invested in this idea because, again, we want people to leave water in the ground. You know, if you don't need to use it, leave it in the ground so it'll be available for the future. And in order to do that, you really need to engage the community at all levels, where they are, at their homes, on the bus, at their schools, at farmers markets. All of those opportunities are a potential point of learning for the community. I know my kid comes home with ideas about all kinds of different conservation things that we can do that he learned at school. So let's engage with the kids. Let's engage with the community where they are in order to spread this message of shared responsibility and shared benefits long term. Next slide. So what is a regional conservation program? What will Valley District be doing? So we're really going to be focusing internally on kind of rolling out this new program. We actually were able to hire 2 new people. We're a very small agency. We only have 29 in total, but we hired 2 new people last year. We hired a new water conservation program manager and a water resources manager who are spearheading this effort. And it involves that community outreach program. So I got really excited when Councilman Reynoso talked about the Little League coming back. I feel like that's a great opportunity to get out there, speak with these young kids about water, you know, all the effective ways that we can conserve, all of those kinds of things. So again, just really getting in there with youth and citizens and engaging them in the message. Regional education at the elementary schools, at our community colleges, again, places like farmers market, technical school, you just don't even know all the possibilities of where we could educate. And so we really want to reach out for those kinds of opportunities and spread the word. A wholesale assistance program, which is where we come in and we can engage with the retailers and say, what do you need from us in order to be as effective as possible in your programming? And so we would share those services with you all in order to become as widespread and effective as possible. And then finally, direct incentives and install programs. Next slide. Okay, so retail agency administer program, what does that look like? That's you guys doing your thing. However it works for you, you tell us, and we will again assist in your capacity. We will help you build programs if you need, or we will incentivize innovation. And again, with the retail agencies, we're ready to meet you where you are, and you let us know how we can best assist you. Next slide. Regional community engagement is, again, just spreading the word, like I said, and we have lots and lots of opportunities to do so. Next slide. And this is just a diagram of how it all fits together. Demand management is a tool, not a goal. And so we have to implement it with purpose every single day in order to be effective and reach our end goal of having a reliable long-term water supply. Next slide. So we will be rolling this out. You guys are my first presentation. We'll be rolling this out to all of our retail agencies and our community partners, and we want to get started on implementation, and we look forward to your feedback. So please feel free to engage us as much as you would like and encourage your community to engage with us as well. Next slide. And I just put some resources on here if anyone wants to go to our website or watch our video from our recent workshop or reach out to our conservation staff. We look forward to working with you all in the future.
Thank you very much, Heather. We appreciate your presentation, and I am just very grateful that we have a good partner in San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District, our water purveyor, and Director Boteo, thank you very much for your leadership. We appreciate you and your representation on that very important board here. We have the presentation, so we thank you, Ms. Dyer, and thank you for presenting. Let's move on and proceed to our public comments portion of tonight's calendar. Ms. City Clerk, if we would please play those recorded public comments.
Okay, we have 20 recorded public comments. Some are in Spanish, so I'll be providing a brief summary on those. And then any public comments that exceed the 3 minutes will be cut off at the 3-minute mark. Perla, can you please proceed with playing the public comments?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. Paul Sanborn here. I'm calling in regards to that 6th Ward person there. It doesn't seem to be that she's getting through to the county down there. You need another fire station over there in the 6th Ward. Those people are very unprotected, I'm telling you. If you had a stroke or a heart attack, you're not going to make it. The times are very bad times in picking people up over there. Anyhow, she needs to get down to the county and start jumping on those supervisors down there to get that fire station built and get it built now. Anyhow, you people have a nice day. Goodbye.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Lorena Suárez y este es un comentario público acerca de lo que dijo un miembro de poner nomás, hablar nomás inglés porque no quiere que las personas hablen español. Está muy equivocado porque la mayoría de personas que vivimos aquí en San Bernardino y hacemos trabajar acá somos de mayoría hispana y hay otras personas de otra nacionalidad. Eso es mucho racismo el que quiere hacer el ya. De veras, debería de ponerse a pensar que ya tiene que hacer es irse despidiendo de este puesto porque va a llegar otra persona que lo va a reemplazar mejor que él mismo. Así que yo le hago saber que ya se vaya despidiendo de la Junta. Y al mayor, al alcalde, le digo de que trabaje más en la ciudad, que haga más cosas por nosotros y que deje de manosear menos a las empleadas. Que pare de manosear a las empleadas. Gracias.
A brief summary of that. My name is Lorena Suarez. My public comment is to let the city council member know. Perla, can you continue with the next one, please? Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yes, my name is Ileana Massingil, and my telephone number is 909-545-4685, and I am calling in regards to the street vendors. I am sick and tired of people trashing all the streets, the neighborhoods, especially my neighborhood. There's people who have their stands right at the corner of Richardson and what is the next street? Right next south of East Davidson and Richardson. Okay, that they live there. The people who are going to buy things, so of course, they are all Hispanics who stop their cars to buy stuff. Okay, and they park in double lane. And there are cars coming from the opposite side, and we have to wait until they grab their change or they make a deal or whatever. Please, 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 I do not want to see any of the street vendor on the streets of San Bernardino. Please make them go and sell at the swap meet. The swap meet, they can go anytime they want to. I never go to the sub meets anyway. So please make them pay something, but not on the streets. I am sick and tired of seeing them. I go and visit my daughter. She lives in the Rosa, and no, not the Rosa. Past somewhere, past the casino. Okay, the whole street, nothing but vendors there, and double parking. And anyway, that is not a good image to the city. When in the world are we going to clean the city of San Bernardino? Please, please. I want whoever needs to be doing this, cleaning up the city, please do it. Please do it. My taxes has to go somewhere, but not to clean up the mess that these people leave. Please. Ya no quiero ver ningún vendedor en la calle porque están invitando a las ratas, las cucarachas, las moscas y todo el cochinero que dejan, toda la basura que dejan. Yo no pago mis taxes para que los trabajadores de la ciudad vayan y limpien el cochinero que toda esta gente deja.
Okay, she just reiterated in Spanish that she doesn't want to see any street vendors in the streets. She says they're inviting the rats, the cockroaches, and flies, and that they leave mess and trash everywhere. She says, I don't pay my taxes so that the city employees can clean the mess that all these people leave. She also exceeded the 3 minutes, so we cut her off at the 3 minutes. Go ahead and proceed.
Hi, this message is for Fred Sherritt. I'm a San Bernardino resident, and I would like to say thank you very much for proposing that English should be the only language spoken. And I'm a different culture, but I grew up in America and I only speak English. And it's hard because I try to go apply for jobs, and they tell me that I don't qualify because I don't speak Spanish, and that's not right. And thank you also for thank you for proposing it.
Hi, my name is Art Guerrero. I live in the First Ward. I just have a comment for Fred Sherritt. Who the hell do you think you are, Pilgrim? Come on now. That English, everybody must speak English? That's what's wrong with people like you there. You guys want to go back to the past. And what kind of crazy people would like just would be against bilingual education, trilingual? It all helps. I mean, let's join the world instead of living in your little bubble. And you got a lot of nerve because this is California, okay? And that's all I have to say. I'm disgusted in you. Thank you.
This is a public comment for Treasurer Ortiz for tonight's open session. Council, I am really disappointed to see that there is no longer discussion moving forward about what's going to come of the Oxbow project. I think that you guys should absolutely be able to address the ludicrous lie that Teddy Sanchez threw out there as a portion of his race-baiting agenda, that black and brown neighborhoods were going to be affected because affluent people didn't want what was dumped in their neighborhood. Like, that needs to be publicly talked about because it was absolutely ridiculous. There are no black and brown, white neighborhoods in San Bernardino. We're a conglomeration of diversity. And if, Teddy, you think that's your cue is to call out people of color to rise up against their neighbors, how utterly disgusting of you. That is wrong of you to do. And if your council won't say it, I'm going to say it. As a Latina, you know what? Do not try and pit our community against any other community. We're all struggling for freedom, for whatever this American dream can offer us. My next issue I have is with the mayor trying to bring any recommendation forward about the demolition of the mall. Nobody's talked about this. What the community is looking for are the community benefit agreement meetings that were a part of the original proposal. You guys have moved RDICO forward to take over the entirety of the downtown redevelopment. The mayor is pay to play. We know he's already got a demolition team ready in the wings. So you need to leave his corrupt self out of this conversation, and I want to hear an update from the city manager. We're moving on 60 days. The mayor's out there giving interviews about how there will be no extensions, there will be nothing, and this city has a history of letting good projects fall through because of mismanagement inside of the departments. The community is speaking out, and there's multiple public comments coming through, and we want you guys to start taking action. If you're hearing a comment, ask the city manager what's up. You guys need to start taking action. All these community meetings that I've been at, I see Teddy, I see Juan, I see Tim, I see Ben, I see Damon, and yet nothing that the community talks about is accomplished. It seems like some of you are more quick to respond to anonymous callers than you are to the faces and the voices and the names of the people you actually know in this community, and that's wrong. People provide you solutions. They provide you avenues towards progress in our city, and it either doesn't at all get acknowledged, or you shut it down because it wasn't your idea, or even worse, you didn't like the person that pushed it forward, so it's dead on arrival. You guys really need to consider the position you take in the city. Because I heard someone say something great about a few of the council members who have stepped up for this community.
Hi, my name is Manel Iskander, and I'm one of the owners here at the Green Shack Marketplace on 163 West Highland Avenue in San Bernardino. I'm calling because you have a council meeting tonight, and I want to bring to the attention of the council members and the city that there is somebody applying for a liquor license, MTNH Market, across the street at 196 West Highland in Ward 7. We have contacted ABC about all of the liquor licenses all around us. You know, we're in the city, we just post-pandemic, there's liquor stores on every corner, and to us, Arco, 7-Eleven, Scheidler have all written to ABC, and the letter we wrote to Alcoholic Beverage Control is that the business is located in a hub zone, a high crime zone, and the area already has liquor already across the street and beer and wine caddy on the corner as well. And there's elementary schools all around us, high schools within 3 blocks of the location. We have an abundance of homeless that remain outside the local businesses and create a public nuisance for the businesses, residents, and customers. There are too many liquor businesses in the area, and there is no public benefit served by the applicant's business whatsoever. On top of that, like I said, you've got Arco, 7-Eleven, ourselves, all directly across the street selling liquor, and the competition is already fierce and crazy with all of the homeless getting alcohol, absorbing our streets. So for crime reasons, if you talk to the police, fire, they're all going to agree that that is the last thing we need. So I want to bring it to the city's attention because I do know that there is going to be a hearing May 11th at 6 p.m. with the Planning Commission, and I would like to address that hearing as well with 4 other business owners in the neighborhood, and we are going to oppose that liquor license. And if it passes Planning Commission, we are going to go against it through ABC because Alcoholic Beverage Control itself does not allow that many licenses within a radius. So I would appreciate if the city or members of council could chime in and stop this Planning Commission from going through. The conditional use permit is 2106. It's under Ward 7, and it is for MTNH Market on West Highland Avenue, 196 West Highland Avenue. The hearing date will be Tuesday, May 11th at 6 p.m. with the Planning Commission. Please advise on that and let us know. We are deeply concerned. Thank you. Once again, this is Manel Iskander from the Green Shack Marketplace. My direct line is 909-886-3812 or my cell phone 951-212-4320. I look forward to hearing a response.
Good evening, Council. My name is Leticia Garcia. I'm calling today for a couple of reasons. One, I just really want to state again that we need to continue to hold people who are elected officials accountable at every turn and every time that one of you does something that is egregious or unacceptable. We all need to make sure that as much outreach to the community is put out because people need to understand what you are all doing.
And secondly, specifically, Councilmember Fred Charette, you owe the community and your constituents an apology and probably a resignation. You, sir, are completely, willfully ignorant. Your whole attitude about having resources for people who speak other languages is completely ignorant. There is no other way to acknowledge that. There's no other way to say it. You just are ignorant as you can be. First of all, no one is asking you, Fred Charette, to do anything different than speak your ridiculous, sick language that you speak. No one can even understand you anyway. You're completely inarticulate. But nevertheless, you can continue to speak the way you speak. No one's asking you to speak another language. The only thing that is being asked is to we have resources for individuals who speak another language. And I'm going to remind you again how ignorant it is to assume that all the people in this city only other language is Spanish. That is not accurate. If you would just look and see who your constituents are, there are a lot of people in the community who speak Vietnamese as their first language or other languages as their first language. What you are doing is being a complete racist, ignorant individual. There's no room for people like you on this council. So if you do not resign, I completely will have whoever is running against you take your ass out. You need to go.
Hello, this is fourth generation living in San Bernardino, Robert Porter. I'd like to speak on items off the agenda for the main meeting today. I'd like to speak on the assault on public speaking that we all witnessed last meeting. Last time before I public spoke, I was going to do a speech on some rumors that I had heard that possibly the mayor was going to pay a public relations firm to come into our meetings and do public speaking. But I didn't think anyone would ever actually do something like that. It's really hard to do, in public if it's a real meeting. But it's not so hard to do if you're using the telephone system. So I'd like to talk a little bit about what happened. Like, all these people called in. Now, I don't care if you're for or against an item. I think if you're passionate about something, you should speak on it. But having so many anonymous callers call in, I've never seen that before. I've seen like one or two prank calls. I've seen people want to be anonymous and have former Mayor Kerry Davis go after them for it. So if you're a normal public speaker and you call, you hear the city clerk say, leave your name. You have to know that you don't really have to say you're anonymous. So something is totally fishy about the public speakers from last week's meeting. And it's literally a front on our rights. It dilutes what we have to say when we're public speaking. It's like letting the big money start to dictate how our public speaking goes. Not only does it also waste our time, it just, the integrity of the process is just hurt. And I want to know where the money came from to have this assault on public speaking. Did it come from city coffers? I hope not. I have no proof of that, but I'd like to know. Did it come from a war chest? Did someone's campaign pay for it? If so, I'd like to know. I want to know who did this. This is out of control. That should never, ever happen in a public meeting. If people want to speak and they're citizens and they know what they want to do, that's fine. But having a public relations firm send people in there or sending them to the phone to call is just outrageous. And I am just livid at it. Just livid. So before I let this call end, I'd like to have a moment of silence for public speaking. It feels like we lost it.
This is Tony. It's a little hard to figure out what Juan Figueroa stands for. You know, your voting record is all over the place. You need to state what you stand for. It looks like you're just kind of a placeholder, and there's no way to figure out what your record is. Your voting record makes you stand for. Ted Sanchez, your comments and your voting record on the Oxbow concrete pile is contrary to everything else you voted for. You've consistently voted against air quality in all your votes, but suddenly air quality is your most important thing on the Oxbow project. Forget about the $2 million. There's no way you're getting out of that project and that rock pile for anything less than $2 million. That developer's not coming back. That developer's gone. The only way to get rid of that rock pile is to take it away. It's not going to stay there. There's going to be lawsuits no matter which way you go. Forget about the $2 million. It's going to cost more. Recently, the City Council debated about what is blindsiding. Blindsiding. Well, a good example of that would be what the mayor did with the veto. You know, not only did he blindside the city staff, city manager, and the council members, but he blindsided the entire city. You know, if you're at the meeting and you want to veto something, you do it at the meeting. You don't do it in some shady behind doors deal. City attorney, your client is not the mayor. The way that veto went is not in the spirit and intent of the Brown Act in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if you look at it, it's a good academic instance of what the Brown Act is against. You know, sunshine laws are not to hide things. They're to make things out in the open, and they're not for slicky backdoor deals like what the mayor did with that veto vote. That was wrong. Taxpayers, pay attention and start commenting more and holding your elected officials accountable, because they're costing you a lot of money, a lot of time, and you're not getting any services out of it. Have a good day.
Hi, my name's Linda Collier. I'm a homeowner in the 6th Ward of San Bernardino. I'm calling the City Council meeting tonight because I have a lot of concerns that our city is looking like trash. We have homeless running everywhere. We have Highland Avenue between Macy and Pepper Avenue where people are just dumping their trash and food. So I just want to know what Mayor John Valdelia and Fred and all these city councils, what are they doing to clean up our city? Where are our city workers who clean up our city? We need to get our city looking like a lot of the other cities. We have the worst looking city. People, my daughter came from Moreno Valley, and she couldn't believe how bad San Bernardino looks now. So, Mayor, please, you've got to do something. Stop being a clown on TV and get some of this stuff done, please. Our home is worth a lot of money, but you're bringing it down. Thank you. Linda Collier, 6th Ward.
Yes, this is Harry Hatch, Ward 7. This is for the general meeting, open session, not on calendar. I do not see anything on calendar for the Oxbow situation in northern San Bernardino County, or in northern San Bernardino City. If not, we need to get it back on calendar so a disposition of that stuff can be made. You need to address this issue and not put it aside like you have for all the fireworks issues that you have. And speaking to that issue, it is fireworks time again. You're going to be passing an ordinance that will adopt selling permits again. I would suggest that you re-examine the permit process, since it does not comply with all of the other permit processes that you have going on within the city. You need to address these issues and stop issuing erroneous permits, because it has already bit you once, it's going to bite you again. Harry Hatch, Ward 7, thank you very much.
Good evening. This is 7th Ward resident Keith Wisniewski. John Valdivia, it's time for you to step down and resign. You are destroying San Bernardino. And Fred Charette, what the hell did you say in the last meeting about bilingual people? 64% of San Bernardino is Hispanic. Your comment was racist, and you should resign immediately. That was uncalled for, unprofessional. You're a council member. You need to represent everybody, no matter what race it is. I am very upset. You're a disgrace. Step down now. Teddy, I don't know what you're doing, but you are like a damn yo-yo. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Make your mind up. And the other new council members, keep doing your good job. Don't let this mayor and his puppets get away with nothing. The corruption has to stop. Pay to play has to stop. The people of San Bernardino are tired of the BS. Please, we're trying to rebuild. We're trying to heal ourselves from this COVID-19. Everything's opening up again. But we need to change downtown. City Hall must change. Just get rid of the corruption. Have a good evening.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline. I live in San Bernardino. I disagree with Fred Charette when it comes to English only. This is discriminatory thinking and a very dangerous path to take our city down into. Fred continues to show his colors as a racist tyrant our city does not need. Our city is composed of a diverse group. We have different ideas, opinions, and dreams. To have an English-only mentality is to be narrow-minded and not open to possibilities. I hope the person who replaces you will be bilingual, approachable, and relatable. We cannot wait for that day. Thank you.
My comments are for open session, and this is from Hardy Brown, Publisher Emeritus and a 61-year resident of San Bernardino. May is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. I join with my Asian community in paying tribute to the generations of Asian and Pacific Islanders who have enriched America and San Bernardino's history to make us who we are as a people. It is recorded that the first Chinese arrived in this area back in 1867, which is just after the Civil War in our country. One such Asian citizen in San Bernardino is the late Bing Wong, who began giving out scholarships to local outstanding students in San Bernardino in 1957 because he believed everyone should have a good education. Mr. Wong came to San Bernardino from China when he was 13 years old. He opened a restaurant, Bing's famous Cafe Inn, in 1940 on Highland Avenue, and that became the go-to place for political and business deals to be made in San Bernardino. I am grateful that I had the good fortune of meeting and talking with Mr. Wong while I served as a trustee on the school board. Even though I've not made up my mind on who to support for mayor, I'm mindful of this historic journey of Helen Tran seeking to become the mayor of our city. She has a deep, rich history with our city, and we will be giving her a serious look in her effort. It is important for us to realize their contributions to our community, as some of our citizens are trying to terrorize Asians for being Asian, and I condemn those who stoop to those tactics. I also want to recognize and wish my friends in the Mexican American community a happy celebration on this Cinco de Mayo day. Thank you for listening. Hardy Brown, a resident of the 6th Ward of San Bernardino.
Hello, my name's Jonathan Scheidler. I represent Scheidler Development, 180 West Highland Avenue, San Bernardino. I want to bring to the City Council an issue that needs addressing. The MT&H Market at 163 West Highland Avenue in the 7th Ward have applied for a liquor license. Our business, along with other neighboring businesses such as the 7-Eleven, the Green Shack, the Arco gas station, all are adjacent and within 500 feet, I believe, of the MT&H business. Basically, we're heavily saturated with homeless. We have endless trouble with the homeless, leaving alcohol containers in the street. There's glass in the street every day that we need to clear. It's an extremely high crime area, as you well know, and there are plenty of choices already for alcohol on all of the corners where MT&H are based. Absolutely, we feel very strongly that we don't want another outlet that serves alcohol that's going to get abused. We've contacted ABC. They suggested that we really get onto this and represent very strongly to the city that we're strongly in our objection, as with our neighbors. And we'll get together and really feel very strongly about this, that we do not want this to proceed. So I hope that the City Council will take this into consideration. Thank you.
Paula Plunk, general audience discussion. To this council and city staff, you cannot act like you want to help save us, then be our biggest oppressor. You are to be a reflection of the community in which you serve. We will not be labeled as race baiters or racist for the purposes that are nefarious in nature, and self-serving for those who want to dish out this venomous hate and call it their management style. Every meeting you are to offer guidance and hope and civility to the people of the city, but you give us heartache and grief and lie upon lie. For one reason only, your lack of care for the city. Your words are untrustworthy, which pulls you away from the conversation of rising up the citizens and helping our beautiful young people find a path to success. Mr. Field, I address you as a sexual assault survivor warrior. When you were hired, I knew you came with a garbage bag filled with a lack of integrity and honor. City of Riverside receipt, sir, and it wasn't long before you betrayed C.W. Calvin to your master, John Valdivia. Now it brought to light you lied to us again about why the entire HR department was moved. It was because John Valdivia looks at women and men as his own free buffet line to sexually prey, brutalize, and bully employees rather than do his job. You cater and feed into his nasty addiction. You choose to protect the sexual predator, sir, instead of honoring those who work for the city. You, sir, are why women do not come forward after a sexual assault. You, sir, are dangerous to the city. And now another investigation has begun. Shame on you. City staff, we continually have to watch you come unprepared to our city meeting, unable to answer simple questions that come from the community. You always give us the deer in the headlights look and the occasional eye roll. Then comes the huge attitude toward our elected officials. When they dare speak to our concerns, snap out of it. This is a pattern from the females on staff, particularly toward Mayor Pro Tem Ibarra. Ladies, stick your Karen back into your Michael Kors bag and do your jobs. We don't want your feels. We need your professionalism. Lack of management is alarming, brutal, and inconsistent for you, but you come with a smile and a cookie for all, or don't bother to show up, because this is our children's future at stake. Mr. Alexander, the gun buyback program. Snafu. Council, the city is burning down building by building, and your silence is deafening and cruel. Your lack of care for the fear that is building in the city, to say the least, is alarming. Residents are fully aware, and why, Council, that you're purposely keeping the doors shut to us until after the 4th of July. But again, it goes to the center of the disability that is the city government, which is a lack of care.
Hello, my name is Victor Suarez. I live in the city of San Bernardino, and this is public comment. I would like to state that I do not agree with Fred Charette when it comes to speaking English only. I believe Fred is out of his mind. He's, like he said, old school, and I'm sorry, you have to catch up with the current times. Our city is composed mainly of Latinos. It's 60% Hispanic, and most of us speak Spanish and English, and some of us even speak a third language. Fred is small-minded when it comes to dealing with the public. He says that he feels inclusive when it comes to being supported by the Latino community, and that's just BS. The Latino community does not support Fred Charette and has never supported him. If he feels so strongly about English only, when it comes to election, he doesn't care if you vote, if you're a Spanish speaker voter or not. He only cares about himself. So with that said, I hope that the next person to replace Fred is someone that's bilingual, that's open to the community, and that the Latino community and also other communities within our city also support. Fred, go take a nap.
Hello, my name is Vincent, and I'm representing the 7-Eleven on 207 West Highland Avenue in San Bernardino. I'm calling to repeal the liquor license application for the MTNH Market located on 196 West Highland Avenue in San Bernardino. They have a planning commission hearing on May 11th at 6 p.m., and I was advised by the ABC to object to the license along with the neighboring businesses such as Arco, Green Shack, Scheidler, and Andy's Auto Center for various reasons, such as being in a high crime zone and a hub zone. There was already liquor stores and beer and wine consumption locations in the area. There are elementary schools within 3 blocks of the location, and there's an abundance of homelessness running around. So there's no need for another liquor license to come through. Thank you for your time.
Mayor, if I may very quickly, the first Spanish speaker, Ms. Lorena Suarez, submitted 2 recorded public comments that were very similar. However, I prepared a summary for the second comment that wasn't played. If you and the City Council would like to hear the summary I prepared, I can go ahead and read that.
Yeah, if you would, please.
Okay, so my name is Lorena Suarez. My public comment is to let the City Council member know to stop contributing to racism in attempting to control that only English is spoken at the meetings. I want him to know that most of those who live and work here are Spanish speaking, and we are not all Hispanic. We are of several nationalities. I ask that he stop contributing to racism and begin saying farewell to his position. The next person that fills the position will know how to represent us better, because it will be a person that will give all Hispanics our place and those of other nationalities. I also request that the mayor speak more to the community, because that is why we picked him, and to please do his job well. I also ask that he please stop harassing his employees and dedicate himself to looking after our community. That concludes the public comments.
Okay, thank you very much. This time we will go into the appointment process for tonight. We have a water board appointment and animal control commission appointment.
Also approved.
Second.
And a second by the councilman. This is for the appointment of Wayne Hendricks and Mr. Alejandro Faz of the Animal Control Commission. Ms. City Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Charette?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin,
Yes.
and Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much, City Council. We appreciate the appointment and congratulations to these two commissioners. At the appropriate time, our city clerk team will reach out to those respective commissioners and have you sworn in. So thank you again for your public service to our community. This is item number 6 on tonight's calendar. This is a public hearing. This is Appeal 21-01 for DPP-20-10 and ME 2001. This is, I am now opening the public hearing at approximately 8:30 p.m. Mr. Huntley, I understand that there's been a request for the continuation of this public hearing from the appellant. Is this accurate?
Yes, it is, Mayor.
Okay, very well, Council. Is there a motion to continue the item to May 20th, 2021 based on
So
a
moved.
appellant?
Second. So move.
Okay.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Councilman Charette and Councilmember Alexander to continue this item to May 19th of 2021. Ms. City Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Okay, and just for the record, any of the public comments that were submitted for this item will be played at the next meeting.
Okay, very good.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Councilmember Charette?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
And Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Okay, the motion to continue the public hearing passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. It is approximately 8:32 p.m. and we will close the public hearing. This time we will now transition to the consent calendar. The following consent calendar items are expected to be routine and non-controversial. They will be acted upon at one time without discussion. Any item may be removed by a city council member for discussion. Council is acting in all capacities with respect to its actions on this consent calendars. And is there any polls from council members? All right, is there a motion for, I'm sorry, Councilman Alexander, my apologies, sir.
I just have one really quick question on item number 10.
Okay.
Really quick. Maybe somebody can answer it.
Go ahead, yes, go ahead, sir.
On packet page 243, and maybe Director Whitehorn can tell me item number 42355. It's a satellite phone. Who has a satellite phone? Is that a police thing? If it's a police thing, I understand. But who has a sat phone? I had one when I was working, but then again, I was a federal agent. So who has a sat phone?
So if I may, in the police department, I know that we do have satellite phones in the police department for emergency communications in the event of disasters.
I just want to know if it was your guys as chief, then I understand. I just didn't see who the sat phone service was for. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilmember Kelvin?
I just have a quick question as well on number 17, so I don't really have to pull it, but if I
Go
can.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So on number 17, I was wondering why there weren't any maps included in the backup for us new council members. And also, I was also wondering if there is any of these areas that are close to our homes, do we have to abstain?
So great question, Councilwoman Calvin, on the maps. Actually, those maps will be coming in the next, this is just the initiation of the process for those engineers reports. It's basically giving us direction to go ahead and prepare those and bring them back for public hearing. So all of those details we will be prepared the next time that we would bring this back.
With respect to the question about whether you have to abstain, the California Political Reform Act provides that when a decision is being made that may impact your economic interest, there is an exception to the conflict rules if the decision you're about to make affects a large number of people in the community in the same way that it affects you. So given that the LLMD affects many in the same way, it's not a particular decision to you, then you would fall, all of you would fall within that exception, and you are able to participate.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Reynoso, sir, go ahead.
Just one question. I wanted to ask about number 12. I love electrification. I love 15 stalls coming down there. I just want to know if they are for trucks or just like vehicles.
So Councilmember Reynoso, I know that they are for public use. I believe that there are at least 2 that are established for ADA, so van accessible. When you're asking about trucks, are you talking about
that take the cargo from the train station? Yeah.
So these would be, my understanding is for passenger vehicles at this
Okay.
point. This is the public parking area for the depot. So
Sure, I understand. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sanchez? Okay,
Move
great. Is
approval
there a motion?
Move
Motion for
approval
approval?
of
All
the
right, there's a
consent
motion.
calendar.
and Second by Councilman Figueroa. Ms. City Clerk, if you please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa,
Yes.
Councilmember Charette,
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso,
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin,
Yes.
and Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
The consent calendar passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. City Clerk. These are items number 21 and 22, the Carousel Mall demolition cost update and financing forecast. Mr. City Manager, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, so we were asked to put this on as consideration for a future agenda item. Barbara Whitehorn and I have discussed this to a degree and are prepared to prepare the forecast. Basically, what it would consist of is an estimate of the costs and an associated financing plan, along with a repayment plan, meaning that at the time that the property actually transferred ownership to a private sector owner, that the city would be repaid whatever it had invested in the demolition of the Carousel Mall. So it's
Okay.
fairly straightforward.
And if is there any questions or comments? Councilmember Calvin.
So isn't the demolition wrapped up in the downtown redevelopment program? So why are we having to deal with the demolition?
We have not yet concluded the negotiations with the select. We have a time clock, and we need to know. We are. It's not that we're anticipating failure there, but we do need to have essentially a backup plan. Be prepared to proceed with demolition in the event that we are not able to successfully conclude negotiations with the selected development team, Renaissance Downtown and ICO Real Estate. So this does not incur any obligations. This is not an actual demolition. It does not require us to go out and demolish the mall. It simply prepares us and gives us an idea of what it would cost.
So if we have not had a conversation yet with RDICO in regards to the demolition.
It is part of the. It is part of the ongoing conversation. Assuming we are successful in negotiating a development and disposition agreement with them, the responsibility would lie with them. This is sort of as I said, it's a backup plan. But no, we have had that conversation with them.
So then why do we need a backup plan? I'm not sure.
As I said, we have not concluded the negotiations yet. So it's simply a backup. This does not incur any obligations or any expenses.
Except for staff having to go out and come back with this number of how much it would cost for us to demolish.
It's more actually. I think the more pressing issue actually is how would we ensure that the city does not incur long-term obligations as a result of this? How would the city be paid back? There's a little bit more to it on the back end to ensure that as part of any future transaction, the city would not be left holding the bag. We would be compensated by whoever the future owner or owners are of the site, of the real estate.
Okay, thank you very much.
So this item is nothing more than a report back with statistics, facts, and a report from the city manager. This was a commitment from the city manager at the January 2021 meeting to come back to the council and present at the request of council. And so that's why I'm asking for where is the update? What are we doing here? And so the cost update and finance forecast, if approved tonight, would be simply that, coming back to the council, making a full presentation on the demolition aspects and the financial impacts as it relates to the Carousel Mall. Mr. Charette?
Yeah, I don't see a need for this discussion, frankly. It is going to be part of the overall picture, and we ought to be in negotiations with the company that we've worked on and come up with that. So I don't see a need for this at all. The demolition, if for some reason during negotiations we end up doing it, certainly we don't want to pay for it. We want to be compensated for it or reimbursed for it. I know that it was presented earlier that there was an opportunity, I think, out of I'll call it help me, Rob, but some sort of a bank in Sacramento where we can borrow money, do this, and then get reimbursed or something like that. I don't want to really go into detail on this. I think this is a moot point. I think we need to get Downtown USA, forgive me if I've, Renaissance Downtown and ICO, I think we need to get them moving on this project and come back to us with a full report as to how we're going to redevelop this whole project. So I don't know why we need all the peripheral stuff. At this point in time, I don't think we're going to do the demolition. And if somewhere down the road during negotiations, it makes sense that we get involved and somehow support their efforts to do the demo, fine. But right now, let's get the negotiations go with downtown our Renaissance Downtown and ICO, and let's get this thing moving. Let's stop talking about it. Let's start getting it done.
To answer your question really quickly, Councilman Charette, it's the state of California's infrastructure bank. They're a lending institution for government entities. And as far as as your suggestion with the path forward, we're not, as I said, it's parallel path type stuff. It is not. We're not obligating ourselves, and we absolutely have no intention of pursuing a demolition unless, for some reason, our negotiations with the selected development team fall apart. I mean, this will be demolition.
Well, if they're going to do the redevelopment and they can't do the demo, then we got a problem. So that's all I'm saying. Let's move forward with Renaissance Downtown and ICO and get them on board and have them present how they're going to do the demo as well as how they're going to do the rebuild and the redevelopment, as well as where they need us to participate. And then we'll talk about how we participate in that process. That's my view.
Mine too.
And I can say this too: there is going to be an update on the progress of the negotiation process with Renaissance Downtown and ICO, I think, at the next meeting. So we'll be bringing a verbal update next meeting. That is due to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilmember Barr, go ahead.
Yeah, just remember when we selected them, one of the pitches they made is that there was a lot of grant money available for the project itself. Maybe they already have found some funding for all they need in the project. That's just I would rather wait until the negotiations are underway and see where they want us to help as well. Thank you.
Okay, move on to item number 22. This is to consider options for reprogramming unused funding. And this is brought forward by Councilmember Kelvin. Ms. Kelvin, please go ahead.
Yes. So National Night Out will be approaching. And so I know that there's some community members working with community builders and neighborhood associations, and they will work a booth and a table next to PD to help pass out lights on this night. There was about $20,000 left over that can be used to help purchase and a match for funds for these type of lights. I'm talking about porch lights. The point of contact will actually be Lieutenant Jennifer Carrell. And as far as the homeless gift card program, working with our homeless inside of our parks, particularly in Succumbee Lake Park, there was about $4,300 left over in gift cards. And PD has designated a crew for the trash pickup in each of these districts, so maybe they can assist in helping pass out the cards with some other nonprofit organizations too that are willing to assist. But I also know that the Community Builders program or organization that they're willing to assist as well. So it seems like the community has come together with PD and neighborhood associations, and they have figured out a plan as to how they can utilize the $20,000 to light up San Bernardino on our National Light Up Night. And then also for the homeless program. So I think there probably needs to be a little bit more tweaking going on, but just if we can consider these things and maybe even have these organizations and Lieutenant Carrell come back for a presentation, I think that would be a great idea.
Okay, is there council support for that? Councilmember Reynoso, sir?
Yeah, make a motion to approve it. I wanted to ask though, are we voting on the demolition one as well?
It doesn't appear that there's consensus.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah,
so there's a motion for what, sir?
Councilwoman Calvin's recommendation.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay, very good. Ms. City Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa,
Yes.
Councilmember Charette,
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso,
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Reynoso?
Just real quick, I wanted to flag, I guess, for staff or whoever's reaching out for the invocation. I know I had made mention a while ago when we proposed bringing it back, because I support it, that we be diverse in who we bring out. I know even there's a lot of different faiths in this community, and I've heard Jesus and God. Even though I personally do believe in Jesus and God, I respect that there are Islamic folks, Hinduism. There's all types of religions here in the community. And so I appreciate it if we diversify that immediately. It's like a rotating kind of respect for all of the faiths in the community.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Let's move on to the items to be referred to committee portion, if there's any comments on that. Councilmember Calvin and Councilmember Alexander.
Thank you. And I'm going to combine this with a report on conferences or meetings. I attended a meeting today with the San Bernardino County Office of Homelessness Services. And there was a workshop on a strategic plan for how we're going to solve homelessness in the county. And I think that the city definitely needs to get on board and either collaborate, or we definitely need to begin our own workshop on how we're going to address homelessness in our city. I know that there's programs and things out there, but for the city to actually take the lead on what it is that we're going to do. And today they just walked through creating their own SWOT analysis. And just really broke it down. And the reason why it was so such a great meeting was because they did involve nonprofits, other county agencies, other cities. ICH was there, and as a member of that steering committee, it is very, very important that we work with, and it's important that, the city of San Bernardino, being the county seat, that we take this opportunity right now to do a workshop to create a strategic plan on how we're going to address. We just heard many, many calls from our constituents on here tonight, calling in about homelessness and their concerns. It is critical now, because we also know that the moratoriums will be coming to an end. And when those moratoriums come to an end, we're going to have even more folks homeless. And we don't even have enough housing in the city currently. So we need to work on that as well, and how we're going to continue to build more housing for our constituents. Thank you.
Councilmember Alexander, sir?
Yes, can we please put on things to discuss a code amendment for public notification for public hearings? Currently, public notifications is only 500 feet. I would like to see it increase to 1,000 feet so we can notify more people, and not just to homeowners, but to residents that live there. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Barra.
Just real quick, piggyback on what Councilwoman Calvin mentioned earlier. I know I had requested that maybe we look into having a homelessness task force like the one that they have in Victorville in our city. And since then, it hasn't been brought forth to us. And I've been mentioning time after time that our nonprofits that are receiving money for emergency services, that they also collaborate with our quality of life team when they're outreaching to the homeless population. So I want to, maybe we can add a report on that one. And then the other one is if we can finally have a final report on the success that our PD had with citing people that were shooting off illegal fireworks last July, that would be great as well. We haven't received a full-on report.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. Appreciate it. All right, if there's no other council, I want to send my deep appreciation to, once again, the mothers in our community. Happy Mother's Day. We appreciate your role in our community. We thank you. Councilmember Alexander?
I apologize, Mr. Mayor. Through the chief, to the chief, about cleanup after accidents. We have a serious problem with cleanup after accidents. I don't know if this goes to the city manager or it goes to the chief of police. After accidents, there's debris left all over the place in the streets after accidents. And I understand that's the tow truck's issue. So the tow truck company. So who is the point of contact when there's debris left in the streets?
I think typically that's the police department runs the towing program, but Eric.
Right. That's why I'm asking the chief.
Not every accident requires the response of a police officer to the scene. So
Right.
that being said, they're not necessarily there to observe if there's debris that's picked up or not. However, when an officer does respond to the scene of like an injury traffic collision, they are supposed to make sure that the tow truck does clean up after the traffic accident. If debris off the road, that is a requirement.
But if it's not, who's the POC?
You just let us know if that occurs, and we'll follow up with the tow truck company.
So I contract my district commander, or the public contracts the district commander of whatever area that is?
Sure, and we can track down, if we weren't on scene, we can track down potentially who the tow truck company was that went there. The scene.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, council members. This concludes tonight's meeting. I want to send my deep appreciation to our staff. Thank you, city manager and your team, and the viewing audience. Thank you, and good evening, everybody.
Good night.